The world seems to be rather an angry place at the moment, or at least the world that I'm contained within. People seem to be wanting to blame other people for everything and making it obvious that they're being blamed. So, for example, I am in the terrible habit of, if somebody winds me up, so like say somebody pushes in front of me in the queue, I'll turn to Andrew and make a snarky comment about them, knowing that they can probably hear me, instead of just politely saying to them, "Oh, did you know there is a queue? We were here first, do you mind going after us?" But instead I'll say something to Andrew like, "Oh, they're just going to push in, are they?" Or usually something more sarcastic and slightly funny than that comment. And I've realised that it's not right for me to do that because I don't know how it's going to make the other person feel. For example, I was actually on the other end of this today. I just finished at school. All of the kids and the parents were flocking out of the school, and I was in my car, and I was coming up to a zebra crossing, and there were some parents on one side with their children who hadn't stopped at the crossing. They were close to the crossing, but they hadn't stopped, so it wasn't obvious to me that they were going to be stopping, so I carried on. And by the time that I realised that they were stopping, it was too late for me to brake. If I had started braking, it would have been dangerous. So I carried on to the junction. My window was open, so the parents started shouting, "Oh, hello, hello, didn't you notice us? You're a bad driver." And I sat there and watched them cross in my mirror behind me as I'm waiting at the junction. And it took me a while to realise that they weren't just saying hello because they knew who I was, or because they knew that I taught their children, or anything like that. So, and then by the time I'd left the junction, they were further up the road, and they'd stopped and waited for me to turn so that they could carry on having a go at me, shouting in the middle of the road. And this time they were saying, "Oh, you need to go and get new glasses." And it's just, they didn't know what my situation was. I may have been looking elsewhere to see if it was safe rather than at them, and I missed my chance to stop for them. But as it was, they hadn't stopped by the time I was at the crossing. To me, they were in the wrong. So why are they shouting at me in public, in front of all the children at the school that know me, and making a fuss of it? And I really wanted to stop and go and say something to them, like, set a better example for your children than this. But I carried on driving. I wussed out of it. No, I won't say wussed out of it. I had the sense to carry on driving and not stop. But it really upset me and made me rather angry. And I realised that when I do it to other people, it probably upsets them as well. So this is a habit that I need to get out of. And I just think the world needs to get out of the habit of blaming everybody for everything. And I know loads of people are going to have different opinions on this, and some are going to think that I was in the wrong, that I should have been able to stop, or that the parents had every right to shout at me because they were teaching the children about safety of crossing. And I don't know, maybe they were just shouting hello, but they definitely weren't. So, but let me know what you think, as long as it's nice and polite and something that I want to hear, because I want the world to be a better place.